Howdy do, buckaroos. Welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a while since I posted, but hopefully this is the video we've all been waiting for. I'm hoping to have the truck running today. So it's been a long time coming, obviously, and there's still a few more things to button up, but I don't think there's a reason this thing can't make noises today. So I'm gonna flip it around, kind of show you what I've been doing, and then I will take you over, show you a couple more things. We're gonna button up a few things, put some fuel in this thing. It's already got oil cooler, oil filter, all that stuff, so that's ready to go. Got to plumb a gauge and put the new turbo piping on. That's all welded up. Put fuel in it, prime that new Predator pump. Hopefully she starts, boys. So I'm gonna flip the camera around and I'm gonna show you guys what I got going on over here. So here it is. This kind of looks the same as it has, but got the same hood stack as last year, the old 4-inch with the new flange. Those holes are for you put 3/8 bolts through your stack, and that's just a safety thing. And if a turbo is to come apart, it doesn't shoot the wheel right out the hood stack. You have 2 grade 8 3/8 bolts that run all the way through your exhaust. That's what those holes are for. Those are going to go in. I'm going to tack weld them on, so there's no chance of them coming loose. Got to finish welding that, which I will do this episode, and then got to plumb this fuel pressure gauge, which this is all nice and tight. Just got to run the wires to it, which I might just have out here for testing purposes so we can get this thing started, but it will be running inside the cab there in one of my pods. But let's walk over and we will check out the turbo piping, and I will show you what all I have left. So, got all the piping over here, all nice and welded up. Only things I have left is to put these bad boys on there. And then, oh, I put that stuff over here. Got a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit everywhere. Right here. So there's our other vibrant bellow brace, the gauge. And then we got to put these bad Larrys on from Ace Race Parts. 1/8" pipe weld on bung, stainless. And these are just 1/8" pipe here, so for boost reference, for the in-cab fuel controller and the boost gauge. And then the other 2 will be for nitrous and or water mat, but probably just nitrous. So we got to get those welded on, get these 2 guys welded on, plumb that gauge. Still got to put the new lid on, which is sitting right there on the fuel cell, and then hook the deals back up. But then fill this thing full of fuel, put a new battery in it, fire it up. So hang on tight for the ride, boys. I'm gonna probably weld up the hood stack first, because I'm gonna get the welder drug out, weld that up, weld the braces on, and then all the welding will be done. And then we will probably do the gauge real quick, which it should be simple right here. So as you see, if it'll focus, but right there to the left is power, so it's just a 12-volt key on power. The center one is from your sensor, and then this far right one is an optional one. It's a headlight switch, so like a dimmer. If which I probably won't run. And then that bottom stud there is ground. So for this, I will just need a 12-volt key on, a ground, run a wire to the sensor, and then the sensor is the same thing. One wire to the gauge, one to ground. Simple enough. Yeah, we will get that. The braces welded on real quick. Change our fuel cell lid, fill it full of fuel. Prime this bad sucker up. We're gonna see if it makes noise, boys. I'm so excited. But let me get the welder strung out. Let me get it plugged in. And we will get these bungs welded on, these bellow braces. I will probably prop the phone up so you guys can get a little welding footage, even though that's not as cool. But just taking you along for the whole ride. So let me get this thing propped up, get the welder drug out, and we will do some welding. Alright, so as you can see, got these welded on, letting those cool down a little bit. And what I've decided to do, oh, where I put them. Oh yeah, right. Pardon me. Another coworker starting up his daggum Cummins. But instead of doing these somewhere on the pipe like this, or somewhere on the plate, what I decided to do, because that's a 3/8 inch thick plate, I'm just going to drill it and tap it. So it'll go right into the plate. One less thing to weld on. Just, I don't know, I didn't think of this before, but now I have extra bunks. But bear with me. I'm going to tap these real quick. Already got them drilled out. Then we're going to get the piping on. Plumb, the boost gauge is already plumbed, just got to screw it in. And then we'll run the boost reference line for the in-cab fuel controller. And then we will wire up that gauge real quick, get some fuel in this thing, and we're going to fire it up. So bear with me real quick. I'm going to tap these out, and we will go from there. Alright, so I had to take a pause, had to go buy some fittings and whatnot, but got all the piping on, hood stack, all the charge piping, got these guys bolted up, I'll put the O-rings back, all the clamps are tight, everything's solid, got the like I was saying, drilling these 2 holes and tapping them. Got the boost gauge here. And now I'm plumbing the boost reference for the in-cab fuel controller. So that's why I had to go get some fittings, because that part's kind of left up to the end consumer of how you plumb it in. So just plumbing that up. I already have 1 line to it. Ran down the valve cover into the cab to the switch. Well, not to the switch yet. It's by the switch. Once I run both of them in, I will zip tie them all together, make it look all nice, and then I will finalize everything. But we are at that point. I'm going to finish putting these fittings in, get those lines plumbed. Just went to the gas station, got some diesel fuel, so we're going to fill this thing up and see if we can make some noise. Alright, so I know I haven't made a lot of content on this video, a little bit of time lapse earlier, but been working really hard on this thing, got it all back together, ran some wires kind of, I'll show you that, but getting ready to crank this thing over. I'm going to flip the camera around real quick. So, got the fuel pressure gauge just kind of temporarily there, so we can adjust it here real quick instead of going back and forth in between the cab and here. Just kind of have it alligator clipped on, and hang on. There we go. So, got the wires just kind of temporarily ran real quick, but got the in-cab fuel controller plumbed, got the boost gauge plumbed, and I'll walk you guys inside and show you how this is ran. Got all the piping on, everything, got all the fluids in it, besides coolant, because we might have to pull the radiator off to prime the Predator if it decides to be a pain. But got fuel in it with some fresh hot shots. Got the filters pre-filled, got power steering fluid in it, alternators hooked up. This thing should be ready to make some noise. So we're going to try and crank it over. Got the button here, and we're going to see what happens. Yeah. Cranky old peach. Alright, so as you can see, it's being a little cranky. Like I said, even on Power Driven Diesel's website, they tell you to prime that with a drill before you hook the belt up. You hook your fuel lines up, run a drill on the front pulley, and it'll crank it way faster than this engine will, and it'll get it primed. Just trying to see if by pre-filling the filters and then being this close up here, if it would prime itself, but it will not. So I'm going to rip this core support out real quick, pull that belt off, get a drill on that, prime it up. We will try again, get a good charge on the battery, and then we will try again. So let me get this ripped off and we will try that. Alright, so as you can see, in the period of about 2 minutes, the entire front clips off. And got the belt off here. Kind of have the pump just sitting here in its bracket. So, allegedly, what you do, stick this guy in there. Well, that's handy. I'm gonna have to take a look at that leak real quick. Alright, reporting back. So, got the pump all the way off, and it turns out this snap ring on the back wasn't pushed in quite all the way. And that's where one of the fuel leaks was coming from. Turns out when you put 65 psi to something, you figure out what you left loose. So I just went through, re-snugged all the fittings, double checked everything up at the regulator, down here at the pump. Everything should be good to go. And now, so a requirement of these in-cab fuel controllers is you need to be at 65 psi fuel pressure to start. Get in there. There we go. So I don't know if you can see the gauge. Ooh. Tell you what. There's 67 psi right there. Choo, buddy. So, I'm going to mount this pump back up. And we're going to try and crank this thing over again now that we know it has fuel up at the regulator, which means it has fuel at the pump. So we're going to see how it goes. Get you guys some of that. It finally makes noise again. Ooh, and it starts even better than I thought it was going to. That classic Diesel Designs pump fired right up. Do have to adjust the idle a little bit, which, whatever, that's fine. But, oh, I'm out of breath. I'm so excited, guys. It's crazy. Been a lot of work to get this thing going again. Looks pretty sick, front clip off. Maybe one day it'll have a solid block and I won't have to run any of that stuff up front. So you can see this nice jewel sitting right here. But for now, we'll have to cover all that up with the front clip. But it runs, guys. Fires right up. That Predator is doing its job perfect once you get it primed up and once you tighten all the fuel fittings. Full disclosure, I forgot a couple, but I'm here to show you guys every step of the process, even the loose fittings that I found, and I got the regulator adjusted nice. It's bumped to keep fires right up. Starts better than it ever has, so I'm thoroughly impressed. It does kind of sound like it might have a fuel knock of some sort that kind of comes and goes, but these injectors have been sitting on a shelf for a year and a half, so that might be it. I put a bunch of Hot Shot Secrets Diesel Extreme in it, only the best, and we're going to run that through and see once I get the front clip on and some coolant in it. I didn't let it run too long without the coolant in it, but we'll get some coolant in it once I get the radiator and core support back in. We will let that fuel run through it. I have 5 gallons in the cell with some Diesel Extreme. Get the fuel system all cleaned out, lubricated, ready to go. Hopefully that fuel knock will go away. If not, I do have an extra set of injectors sitting down here that were for the dually engine, but I can always order another. And we will get this thing on the road, guys. Need to bleed the rear brakes, put some fluid in the diffs, need to get the Revolution gear and axle spool in the rear, get some fluid in it, and it's ready to take down the road once again, guys. Then there's always the other stuff you got to button up, like drive shaft loops, and need to plumb the ice system, water system for the water to air intercooler yet, but it'll still drive and make sure everything works good without that. Like make sure the new brakes work good, make sure the new steering, get it to an alignment shop, get the new suspension all dialed in. But that's next. But it runs, guys. I hope you're as excited as I am to finally hear this thing run. Thanks for coming along for the ride. Sorry it took so long to get it running, but it was plenty worth the wait, I think. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, share, subscribe. Stay tuned for the next video. It might be this thing driving. So, thanks for watching, guys. Like, share, subscribe, comment, hit the bell. I will see you guys on the next one.